That is bring to you news as they unfold in the country and beyond. Tonight, beyond the COVID-19 stories, two big things happened that we shall be opening with. One, the Federal Executive Council held for the first time in a while, and then the long-awaited Chief of Staff to the President has emerged. Of course, the coronavirus pandemic is still on the front burner, and the bulk of the package is all about it. That is containment efforts, guidelines, compliance and enforcement challenges, palliatives, emerging and educational trends. In fact, the whole gamut. Well, it's better to let you have it than be teasing you. After all, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Umar Buba, and this is News Extra. You're welcome. The Federal Executive Council has approved further amendment to the 2020-2022 medium-term expenditure framework as well as 2020 Appropriations Act. This is in response to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on the nation's economy. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, announced this while briefing newsmen after the meeting of the Federal Executive Council. And State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports on these and other resolutions of the nation's highest policy decision-making organ of the Nigerian government.
This is the first virtual meeting of the Federal Executive Council in the nation's history. President Muhammadu Buhari presided over the meeting from the Executive Council chambers, joined by Vice President Yemi Oshibanju and few members who had memos to present, while others participated from their offices across the nation's capital. This is in compliance with a social distancing protocol aimed at containing the spread of the novel coronavirus pandemic.
Government thought it was important, even to fight COVID-19 also, to find ways of running government, and that is why we resorted to technology.
Several memos were therefore considered and approved by the Council, including the amendment to key parameters of the 2020 budget.
The crude oil price is approved at $25 per barrel. Crude oil production at 1.94 million barrels per day, and then an exchange rate of 360 naira to $1. The revised budget is now in the total sum of 10.523 trillion, a difference of just about 71.5 billion when compared to the approved budget.
With the cutting down of the budget size, the government brought in new expenditure not previously budgeted to adequately respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. The federal government will therefore have a direct substantial revenue for funding the budget, while the deficit of 5.365 trillion naira will be financed by both domestic and foreign borrowings made up of concessionary loans from the IMF, World Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and Afrexim Bank.
We also presented to Council a request on behalf of Ebonyi State Government for a loan of $80 million from the Islamic Development Bank for the construction of the Abakaliki Ring Road project.
The minister also secured the Council's approval for the purchase of 3 operational boats for the Nigeria Customs Service for surveillance and anti-corruption activities on maritime waters. The Minister of Agriculture, Sabona Nonu, announced the approval of another loan facility of about 950 million euro for agricultural mechanization in the country, which he described as a major revolution in Nigeria's agricultural sector.
We have an estimated 84 to 92 million hectares of land. We are only tilling about 34 million hectares. If we are going to move agriculture forward in this country, it's absolutely necessary for us to mechanize.
47.2 billion naira revised estimated cost for the augmentation of subsisting contract has also been approved by the Council for the provision of additional critical power grid infrastructure.
This is for the full evacuation, delivered and utilization of 40 megawatts currently being generated from Kashimbila via Takum, Wukari, and then Yandef to the national grid. And in fact, if it is not evacuated, Nigerian government will lose not less than 120 gigawatts of power, which is equivalent to almost $9 million in air.
The Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, on his part, announced the approval of the Council of over 683.6 million naira for the purchase of 19 operational vehicles for the Nigerian Post Authority. This, he said, is the first time in the last 4 years that NPA is acquiring vehicles to assist in the execution of its mandate of governing and operating the nation's ports. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Former Minister of External Affairs, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, is the new Chief of Staff to the President and Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Boss Mustafa confirmed the appointment by the President at the commencement of the first virtual meeting of the Federal Executive Council. And State House correspondent Adamu Sambo again has the story.
His Excellency has approved the appointment of Professor Ibrahim Gambari as his new Chief of Staff.
This announcement by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, formally put to rest speculations on the appointment of the successor to the late Chief of Staff, Abuja. Abuja died of coronavirus on the 17th of last month. Professor Ibrahim Gambari, who had already assumed responsibilities in Nigeria's seat of government, was the Minister of External Affairs between 1984 and 1985, when President Muhammadu Buhari was military head of state. He is currently the chairperson of the panel of eminent persons of the African peer review mechanism.
I thank the Almighty Allah for the opportunity and the President of the Federal Republic for giving me this opportunity to serve him and, of course, the country. I think he demands loyalty, competence, and support.
So what will be your guiding principles as Chief of Staff?
To serve the President to the best of my ability.
Holder of the National Honours Award of Commander of the Federal Republic, CFR, Professor Ibrahim Gambari from Kwara State is the founder and chairman of Savannah Center for Diplomacy, Democracy and Development. It is a non-governmental think tank on research, policy studies, advocacy, and training on the nexus between conflict prevention and resolution, democratization, and development in Africa. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Well, it is obvious that Professor Ibrahim Gambari is the new name in town, and yes, the new Chief of Staff to the President, a big fish that has swum international waters and safely returned home with a lot of experience. And Mayor Ogidi tells us about the man, Professor Gambari.
Promoting sustainable peace, therefore, requires a human security and human development orientation and high-level political commitment and coordinated public policy initiative will, in my view, play a critical role in overcoming continuing challenges to the nexus of peace, security, and human development, particularly in Africa. Thank you very much for listening.
A sound global voice accompanied by a sincere smile emerging from a true African color, and it's the trademark of an outstanding international scholar and diplomat, Ambassador Ibrahim Agbola Gambari, CFR. Familiar name in the world's diplomatic arena, Professor Gambari, between 1999 and 2005, was Under Secretary General and Special Advisor to the UN Secretary General on Africa, a position he held to the benefit of African prosperity through the formation of the new Partnership for Africa's Development, NEPAD. This period comes with an extended responsibilities, serving as resident special representative of the Secretary General and head of the United Nations mission to Angola, a delegate to the Assembly of the African Union, and as a member of the UN Secretary General's delegation. Professor Gambari was the chairman of the United Nations Special Committee Against Apartheid, during which he worked closely with African governments to coordinate UN policy to eradicate apartheid. His last assignment at the UN was as the joint special representative of the Secretary General and chairperson of the African Union Commission and head of the UN and AU hybrid mission in Darfur. During his tenure, the UN and AU hybrid mission to Darfur was the world's largest international peacekeeping mission. At the home front, Professor Ibrahim Agbola Gambari was the Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs and later the Minister of External Affairs of Nigeria between 1984 and 1985. He worked closely with regional leaders, institutions and governments, particularly within the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, on the economic and political development of the sub-region. Taking you back to the roots, Professor Gambari was born November 24, 1944 in Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria, and attended Provincial, now Government Secondary School, Ilorin, before proceeding to the King's College, Lagos. He subsequently attended the London School of Economics, where he obtained his BSc Economics degree in 1968 with a specialization in international relations. He later obtained his master's degree in 1970 and PhD in 1974, degrees from the Columbia University in New York in political science and international relations. He began his teaching career in 1969 at City University of New York before working at the University of Albany. Later, he taught at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Kaduna State, serving as the 5th head of department of the Department of Political Science and International Studies from 1982 and 1984. From 1986 and 1989, he was visiting professor at 3 universities in Washington, D.C., Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies, Georgetown University, and Howard University. On March 12, 2013, he was appointed by the Kwara State Governor, Abdul Fattah Ahmad, as the Chancellor of the Kwara State University, Ilorin, Nigeria. He was also appointed as the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Board of Governing Council of Bayero University, Kano. And today, Professor Gambari is the Chief of Staff to President Muhammadu Buhari, taking over from Malam Abba Kyari, who passed away on the 17th of April, 2020. Mie Ogidi, NT News.
An amazing profile there, I must say. Now, the city of Ilorin, hometown of the newly appointed Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, is in a joyous mood as eminent personalities describe the appointment as a monumental step towards national development. Here is Iyabode Olorunshola from Ilorin.
Professor Agbola Gambari's appointment as the new Chief of Staff to the President caught the people of Ilorin unawares. Being a prince from the Sulu Gambari dynasty, I headed straight to his family compound, where I met 80-year-old Salimota Gambari, one of the oldest women in the compound. This is the family house of the new Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Agbola Gambari, at Center Agboro in Ilorin. If not for the COVID-19 lockdown, this place would have been agog with excitement and celebrations. But all the same, the people are still excited.
Everyone knows him as a good person. I plead with him to continue with this behavior. He should show commitment to his people, community, and Nigeria at large.
We have been using the family to this kind of success. I mean, the kind of success that has been bestowed on him. So, and we know that it is God's gift.
The Emir of Ilorin's palace was in the mood of celebration, but for the maintenance of social distancing and the Ramadan fast in the air.
I will not be surprised if you start to see changes in so many angles, because here is a man with a lot of weathered experience.
It is a pride to the world of scholarship and decency, because this is a man that we know him to be very, very straightforward, very intelligent, and from his impeccable background.
I know him is not a politician, and I don't expect him to join politics in the office. In fact, if he becomes a politician, it will hamper his effectiveness. It's better for him to remain a neutral Nigerian.
Meanwhile, Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdulrazak has described the appointment of Professor Gambari as well-deserved, considering his unblemished record of service as a diplomat and global statesman. Professor Ibrahim Agbola Gambari, who is one-time Minister of External Affairs, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Nigeria to the United Nations, among others, is currently a chairperson of the Panel of Eminent Persons of the African Peer Review Mechanism, APRM. His appointment is coming after the death of the former Chief of Staff, Abba Kyari, on the 17th of April 2020. Iyabode Olorunshola, NTA News.
And the appointment of Professor Ibrahim Gambari as the new Chief of Staff to the President is receiving commendation by some notable Nigerians and organizations. And Do India has the report.
In its message, the All Progressives Congress, APC, maintained that Professor Ibrahim Gambari will bring a scholarly intellect and international network to bear for the smooth running of the office of the President in order to deliver the next level agenda programs for the benefits of Nigerians. The Speaker, House of Representatives, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, described the choice of Professor Gambari by President Buhari as putting a round peg in a round hole, considering his experience, believing that the new Chief of Staff will use his international connection for the betterment of the country. The Oba of Benin, Omonoba Nedo Okwakpolokpolo Ewari II, has also joined other eminent personalities to appreciate President Muhammadu Buhari on the appointment of a new Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari. The Omonoba Nedo says, at this crucial stage of global development and emerging dynamics of international political economic relations, the counsel and input of Professor Gambari will be of immense value to the nation. In Abuja, doing dear NT News.
Thank you so much, Dorian, for that. So many goodwill messages, I must say. And to discuss more on the appointment of the new Chief of Staff to the President, we have, through telephone conversation, we're going to discuss with Professor Bola Akintarinwa. He is the former Director General, Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, NIIA. Professor, it's good to have you on News Extra tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to start with a very simple question. What is your opinion, of the man, Gambari?
Well, my opinion is very simple.
Okay.
When you look at it from the perspective of expertise, certainly there's no point professionally qualified in terms of international affairs, international studies, international relations, and international law. I think he is at the epicenter in this particular case. So, if he turns left, right, front, backwards, he is at the epicenter. When you look at it from attitudinal disposition, people can criticize him, people have qualms, they have complaints. I think that there is the need to differentiate between his attitude as an individual, in other words, his personality, then his attitude as an official. Because when you look at it, when we talk about ambassadors necessarily represent the president of the sending state. It's not representing Nigeria. He has to represent the president, which means that he must do the bidding of the president. Okay. So many of the complaints against him are such that he was doing faithfully what is required to do. And then those who are also criticizing him, they are not at fault. The only thing is that they are considering different factors. So when you look at it at the top level, what I call the deliverable capacity, can he deliver as Chief of Staff? Of course, because if he listens, especially if he reckons with the criticisms levied against him, he will, in an unprecedented manner, deliver Nigeria and bring about a new image, international image, for President Muhammadu Buhari. So my opinion is that this is a time to look forward and then look at how Nigeria can be made a great country.
Okay, from all you've said is that he's the right choice, from all you have said. So, because you talked a whole lot about him in a good way. So, what would you say he would bring to the table, especially?
I think, first of all, you know, in terms of the image of the president, worldwide, we look at our president as if he's not a serious one. If you look at the speeches that are coming out, you see they do not reflect any research background. These are just commentaries, basically. They are not analytical. Okay. So since Ibrahim Gambari is an academic, is a diplomatist, and is also a diplomat, and in this case, he has worked as an international civil servant, and from that perspective, as an international functionary, he should be able to bring his experiential experience and empirical factor to bear on whatever comes out of the presidency. It's not just a question of being working like a secretary, and then deciding who should see Mr. President. But in this case, he should be able, as a former Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, ensure that the institute is made relevant, not the way it has been completely destroyed.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor. I know you have a lot to talk about. I know you have a lot to say. He's the new topic in town. He has a whole lot in his profile, and I would like you to stop there because of time. Thank you so much, Professor Akintariwa, for coming on a News Extra tonight. Thank you so much. And then
thank you for having me.
Okay. Moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari is assuring the people of Nasarawa State that decisive steps will be taken by the federal government towards restoring normalcy in the security situation of the state. This was when he granted audience to the state governor, Abdullahi Saleh, at his official residence this Wednesday. And State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
The Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Saleh was in the State House to brief President Muhammadu Buhari on the recent challenges of security in parts of the state. During the meeting, which lasted about 40 minutes, Governor Saleh informed the President of the actions taken so far towards containing the situation, especially in Toto and Nasarawa local government areas, as well as the recurrent violent conflicts between the Tiv and Alagbon communities.
Situation in Toto especially is very bad. You know, because right now the military had a joint operation with the Air Force as well as the police recently, you know, and they were able to destroy the camp of the Dar es Salaam group that they have regrouped, and now they are kidnapping, is also banditry, and it's a situation that is bad. But I believe our security agencies are up to the task, and our president is also up to the task, so that's why it's necessary to brief him.
So how do you want the federal government to come in?
Well, we want the federal government to intervene, especially in the areas of mostly providing more security in the area, more military presence in the area, more police presence in the area, and if possible, you know, engaging these people and getting them out of our state.
So what are your takeaways from your engagement with the president? How fruitful?
Well, the president, you know, anytime you discuss about security, is somebody who is very interested. He's interested in the security of this nation. He's very interested in ensuring that everyone is safe. He's ensuring of getting rid of criminality in the entire country. So every time you come to him on the issue of security, you will find him very interested. You will find him very, in fact, in the next few days, you will hear him call security meeting to discuss this.
The governor also discussed with the president measures put in place towards containing and controlling the COVID-19 pandemic in the state. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The recently repatriated Sani Abacha loot will go towards 3 of the federal government's 5 priority projects, excluding the Mambila Power and East-West Roads project. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, had mistakenly noted in an earlier statement that the Mambila was one of the 5 priority projects to benefit from the $311 million Abacha loot under the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund managed by the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority. Although the Mambila and East-West Expressway are regarded under the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund as priority projects, they are exempted from the agreement signed between the Nigerian United States and British Territory of Jersey governments. According to the document, only the second Niger Bridge, Abuja Kaduna-Kano Expressway and Lagos-Ibadan Expressway will benefit from the repatriated funds. The funds are domiciled in the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority. All print and online media are to please take note of this correction and make the necessary adjustments to the previous publications on the issue. And the federal government assets value at billions of naira, but line waste in parts of the country have attracted the attention of the House of Representatives. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, has inaugurated an ad hoc committee to investigate such abandoned federal government properties. A National Assembly correspondent, Lami Ali, reports.
The committee inaugurated is saddled with the task of establishing the status of abandoned properties belonging to the federal government. House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila says the committee shall, among other mandates, take stock of and evaluate the properties and make recommendations on how best to put all assets to good use.
We have a public health emergency unlike anything we have ever seen before. At the same time, the drop in oil prices, our most valuable commercial export product, has left us with an economy in severe decline. The end goal is to move us from developed or developed or developing to developed.
Chairman of the ad hoc committee, Representative Ademo Rinkuye, noted the huge economic waste and revenue loss that is now the narrative of several assets of the federal government across the 36 states of the Federation and Abuja.
According to a conservative estimate put together by Nigerian Society of Builders, the value of these federal government abandoned properties in Lagos and other cities across the country is projected at 830 billion naira.
Reports of the committee, when submitted, will be considered for further legislative action. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
News around COVID-19 and the Madagascar herbal remedy may be trending. What you may not know, however, is what Nigeria boasts of in that regard. Well, find out when News Extra returns as the quest for divine intervention for coronavirus pandemic holds sway.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
stay-home data plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Glow Unlimited.
You've seen me promote Lifebuoy soap, but today I urge you to use whichever soap that is nearest to you, because washing hands with soap helps to fight the coronavirus. This is a public service announcement from Lifebuoy.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Guy, what happened? This COVID-19 is not easy on my business, so my client just put the project on hold. Imagine that one of last week. They cancelled it. And I am scheduled to call my tax officer next week. What do I tell him?
Relax. FIRS has it sorted already. That's why they issued palliative measures to cushion the effects of COVID-19 on taxpayers. Remittance of VAT, which used to be on or before 21st of every month, has now been extended to the last day of the month. FIRS also states that it's imperative that companies whose revenues are in foreign currency and personal income, tax returns for foreign affairs, non-residents, military and police, immediately check their website for important updates as well as information on late returns penalty. All supporting documents can be submitted later to the tax office for all those who cannot access email facilities. There are lots more. From now till further notice, FIRS says all taxpayers can now take advantage of its simple, user-friendly and robust e-filing process to submit their documents online instead of visiting tax offices. Dedicated email addresses for each of the offices are available on their website, www.firs.gov.ng. Stay safe and comply with all the guidelines issued by the government so that together we can make Nigeria working again.
This broadcast is powered by FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Health experts across the globe are working tirelessly to develop a cure against the deadly coronavirus pandemic. But always remember, prevention is better than cure. You can protect yourself from the COVID-19 pandemic by taking the following measures recommended by the World Health Organization. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water or hand sanitizer with alcohol for at least 20 seconds. Avoid touching your eyes, nose and mouth with unwashed hands. Clean and disinfect household surfaces daily. Practice social distancing by keeping at least 2 meters away from others if you must go out in public. Stay home if you can and avoid unnecessary travels to avoid the spread of COVID-19. Stay safe. Coronavirus is real. This message is brought to you by Amen Foundation.
Power outages have become part of our lives, and life can be a nightmare without power. That's why, now more than ever, you need to take control of your life with Omaha Portables.
The power output of every Omaha generator is exactly as stated in its power rating.
As long as there's Omaha, your home will have the reliable power you thoroughly deserve.
Omaha generator gives us peace of mind because it never fails us.
Omaha Portable Generators, inspired by you. Amazing Bluetooth, gripping 4K, high-def satellite receiver, vibrant colors, make you feel truly immersed in the action. Omaha Television, inspired by you.
Thanks for staying. Africa's last virus-free country, Lesotho, has confirmed its first case of COVID-19, just as the total number of infections in Lagos State, Nigeria, nears 2,000. And Joyce Ometu is here with the latest developments of the pandemic worldwide.
On the 12th of May 2020, 146 new cases of COVID-19 and 6 new deaths were recorded in Nigeria. The total number of infections now stand at 4,787 and 158 persons have died. The new cases were spread across 19 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Meanwhile, Lagos State, the epicenter of the virus in Nigeria, is seeing a rapid rise in infections as its total number of COVID-19 cases nears 2,000. The state currently has 1,990 cases of the virus. Lagos and Kano states both record the highest number of fatalities in Nigeria. In Africa, figures by Worldometer collated at 6 p.m. indicate that the continent now has 71,411 COVID-19 cases, 2,425 deaths, and 25,149 recoveries. This is coming as the tiny nation Lesotho has confirmed its first case of coronavirus. Entirely surrounded by South Africa, which has more than 11,000 cases, Lesotho had been the only country in Africa without a reported infection. But this week, dozens of people who arrived from Saudi Arabia via South Africa were tested, and one case was found. Also in Africa, mosques and churches in Niger are reopening for the first time in 2 months. In England, government has begun easing some lockdown measures. Those who cannot work from home are returning to their workplaces, as the government urged people to avoid public transport if possible. Meanwhile, figures published by Johns Hopkins University as at 6 p.m. show that globally, 4,381,518 cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed, with 294,751 deaths and over 1.6 million recoveries. And that's a global update on COVID-19. Many thanks for watching. I am Joyce Ometu.
Now that the Madagascar COVID-19 remedy is en route to Nigeria, Nigerian homegrown remedies are also springing up. There is one from the Forestry Research Institute of Nigeria in Ibadan. The important thing, however, is that they all must pass through laid-down validation processes, and correspondent Kemi Oshin tells us about the Forestry Research Institute's latest claim.
As the quest for the treatment of COVID-19 continues, government agencies have also joined in the efforts. One of such is the Forestry Research Institute of Nigeria, in making use of forest resources as a possible solution to the pandemic. Named Covitone, it is an herbal blend believed to be effective in the treatment of COVID-19.
The scientists, even in the face of the lockdown, were busy in their various labs working to see what are the various remedies that they can readily make available for Nigerian use and consumption. And as God will have it, they had recorded some breakthrough. One of them is already at syrup level that we have even made available to the NAFDAC for them to do the analysis on it and certify that product.
Researchers on the project, which is under laboratory analysis ahead of approval from relevant regulatory agencies, noted that the materials used are locally sourced plants and herbs. They confirmed that the product is effective in the treatment of known COVID-19 symptoms.
Based on the knowledge that we have been working on different medicinal plants to treat different ailments, and we carry out the research in Biomedicinal Research Center, we now have to come up with a mixture that can be able to alleviate the symptoms of the COVID-19.
We are talking about viral problem. We will be talking about some properties in each plant, for instance, antioxidant, that will help that will clear off the diseases in the body system.
Once this is approved, we tend to raise the plantation of those plants. We have the capacity.
The Research Institute also came up with other products such as hand sanitizers and hand wash at different stages of intervention in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. In Ibadan, Kemi Oshin, NTA News.
A short-sharing one from Ibadan. As discussions about COVID-19 continues to take center stage globally, one aspect which is also raising concerns is that of children, especially infants, who are at greater risk of not just coronavirus but other transmittable diseases. And that is why experts on NTA's Tuesday Live are advocating better consideration of these vulnerable groups in the COVID-19 response program. And Do India reports.
The 10th annual African Vaccination Week was flagged off on Monday 11th and is expected to last till Friday 15th May 2020, an event which, amongst other things, educate Nigerians, especially women, on the importance of immunization and sustainable primary health care system. Before the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic, there were programs on immunization of children with the 5 killer diseases such as measles and polio, amongst others. Guest on NTA Tuesday Live wants a sustainable awareness advocacy, especially at the grassroots level, and also made adequate provision for the primary health care institutions across the country.
And to make sure that those kids, women who are left behind because they do not have access to healthcare services are actually brought into view, and those resources are made available to reach them.
But the best case scenario will be the date and the time we'll be able to make the vaccines ourselves.
With the scare of the coronavirus pandemic, experts express concern that the interruption of such vaccination program could expose children under the ages of 5 and other vulnerable groups to the risk of life-threatening diseases.
That loop of communications about the importance of immunization or antenatal or even indeed nutrition. And this is critical even at the COVID-19 period.
WHO, apart from advocating for this coordinated messaging around the world and bringing it down to the country level, also works to provide the evidence of the impact of vaccines. This is a powerful tool when you use evidence, when you use figures or data to demonstrate the impact on mortality.
They stress the need for necessary collaboration with both local and foreign investors in the healthcare system in Nigeria for effectiveness and efficiency. In Abuja, doing Dia NT News.
You'd sure agree with me that coronavirus is a scourge that has affected all aspects of human endeavor, taking its toll on healthcare providers who are on the front line to curb the menace. In Kano, the story is not different, as some health workers in the line of duty have paid the supreme price. Fatima Sanusik, RIA, in this report examines how these health workers are striking a balance between the highly contagious disease, their safety, and the patients they attend to.
With healthcare crises like the novel coronavirus pandemic, the psychological impact on healthcare workers is daunting, especially when it can also affect both the workers and members of their immediate families. Dr. Nagoma, a resident doctor at Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital, is always afraid of going back home whenever he closes from work, knowing he could be a carrier of this deadly virus. In the front line of Kano's struggle with novel coronavirus, amidst vulnerable and outstretched healthcare system, healthcare personnel are getting infected with the virus while discharging their duty due to inadequate and substandard procedures and personal protective equipment, coupled with shortage of working facilities for those in the front line. More than 34 healthcare personnel in different hospitals in Kano State were said to have contracted the virus. What is devastating is that some of these workers are transmitting the virus to their loved ones at home.
Doctors infected and they are positive for COVID-19 infection, and so sad that we have lost one out of this number.
This created a gap in the healthcare delivery across hospitals in the state, as most healthcare personnel are circumspect for fear of transmitting and contracting the deadly virus. However, medical service in hospitals across the state are now streamlined. Patients will have to go through strict medical protocols, reducing number of outpatients and weekly clinics and also the introduction of telemedicine for remote medical consultation, where patients will be monitored by doctors for general medical problems.
Lot of patients calling in, and even some that mean to call other specialists, they call. So the good thing is that we are all mostly aware of these numbers, so we're able to redirect them.
As people continue to move around, visiting friends and neighbors, disregarding physical distancing, experts are of the opinion that only when they observe all the outlined precautions and adhere strictly to the rules of the lockdown, then we will have a fighting chance to beat novel coronavirus. For Dr. Nagoma, he said he will continue to walk in the front line, saving lives, but keeping in mind his son is equally dependent and trusting him to keep him safe. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Karai, NTA News.
Oh, we appreciate him and appreciate all the health workers out there. We really need to appreciate them and pray for at all time. Now, in spite of restrictions imposed by government to reduce the spread of coronavirus in communities, residents of some local government areas, even with a growing incidence of new cases, are not complying fully with the stipulated safety guidelines. Imo Leayo Tokede, however, visited a community and enumerates the strategies adopted by the leader, and they led to fall in line and keep the virus at bay.
Community transmission of COVID-19 has been adjudged the catalyst in the swelling rate of new cases in Lagos. This trend, experts say, is linked to collective ignorance about the transmission mode of the virus. The outcome is lack of adherence to publicized preventive measures. Elegushi is a densely populated community in Eti-Osa local government area. This axis reportedly has a high prevalence of coronavirus, an information that seemed not so scary to inhabitants of the various layouts.
The simple method I was taught that the government asked us to be doing, like washing our hands regularly.
Visibly worried by the presence of the virus in his domain, the Elegushi of Ikate, Oba Said Ademola Elegushi, revealed that he has met with other traditional rulers, after which more awareness campaigns were carried out within the community to reduce the rate of new infections.
When this thing first happened, the state government called us and told us that there is a world pandemic in town, that we should sanitize our people, which we've called the market women, the religious leaders, the private people holding social life, about the way we need to stay safe and stay alive.
For the management and possible treatment of COVID-19, the monarch appealed to the government to explore alternative remedies.
We have a lot of good traditional medicine in Nigeria that can fight this battle. I think the government needs to give them a chance. Fellow Nigerians, COVID-19 is real. Please let us stay safe. Let us abide by the rules that the government of Nigeria has put in place for us to be alive.
In the ambition to end the pandemic in Nigeria, the federal government emphasized the role of the traditional institution in reducing community spread across the country. In Lagos, Imole Ayotokede, NTA News.
And from Lagos, we'll take you to Borno State, where many rural dwellers in the state are keenly watching and keeping their ears wide open as the coronavirus pandemic unfolds, especially with the lockdown, boundary closure, and other safety protocols to prevent spreading. Despite lack of basic safety facilities, some of the rural communities are practicing social distancing to keep COVID-19 out of their neighborhoods. Maimuna Garba is our guide.
Strict adherence to the preventive measures is a major move towards curbing community transmission of COVID-19. Therefore, how much do the rural people know about it? With me is a resident of Moromti, a rural settlement at the outskirts of Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, by name Bulama Musa Abdullahi. Malam Bulama, how much do you know about COVID-19 and the preventive measures?
Our people were not left behind. They were well aware about the disease. And we've been enlightening our people that this is a serious disease that we have to prevent ourselves from this disease.
Gwamnati ya ba mu dokoki da likitoci sun ba mu dokokin da muna bi.
Moromti, a small village in Konduga local government, represents many rural communities in Borno State where the citizenry are taking precautionary measures against COVID-19 owing to enlightenment campaign, boundary closure, lockdown, and other happenings relating to the health crisis. Even though there are no provision of hand-washing facilities seen in the village, lack of face masks and sanitizers, the residents at their personal level said they are trying to maintain personal hygiene and observing social distancing as safety measure against COVID-19. Experts are saying a lot needs to be done regarding awareness campaign on the pandemic at the grassroots level, in addition to provision of safety items.
People are aware of certain COVID-19, but they do not know the real details because they are very good at listening to foreign news. But the knowledge of how to protect themselves, how to take care of it, how to fight it and so on depends on the development of the rural areas.
Awareness creation is very essential, especially in this moment, because once citizens were enlightened, it helps them to know how to even prevent the contracting of the disease. It also enables them to manage even the disease.
The sooner rural dwellers are made aware of safety protocols and personal hygiene, the better for all. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Thank you so much, Maimuna. Now, as Nigerians are looking for ways to fight the coronavirus pandemic, women religious bodies are seeking spiritual intervention to the pandemic. And Hamman Jabani reports that the women prayed for forgiveness of sins during the prayer session put together by the Nigerian Interreligious Council in collaboration with the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Nigerian Television Authority, and also UF-UK Dialogue.
The Nigerian Interreligious Council spiritual prayer, which featured women from across the country, is to seek the face of God in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. The religious leaders, while praying, call on God to direct President Muhammadu Buhari and all other leaders in steering the affairs of the country for the interest of all. They say, coming together of the major religions in the country will no doubt bring an end to the pandemic, and that Nigeria will be stronger and better after the period.
We ask your forgiveness of our sins, of believing men and women, to the number of your creatures in accordance with your good pleasure, and to the weight of your throne.
We know you can take it away within a twinkle of an eye. That is why we are calling upon you as our Lord and our Savior. Father, take away this coronavirus in the name of Jesus Christ.
Almighty and eternal Father, we know that you can turn every evil situation into good for the benefit of those who believe and trust in you. We call you into our midst. We call you, dear Lord, into our land and into the world.
With all the beautiful names, Ya Allah, that you name yourself, the one that you taught us, and we know in the Quran that we recite to call you Allah. And those names that you hid it for yourself alone, oh Allah. I implore you with those names, Ya Allah, have mercy on mankind. Have mercy on Nigeria and have mercy on the whole world, Ya Allah.
Executive Secretary, NIREC, Reverend Father Colenus Afibu, said the prayer demonstrates that God is the creator of all, and also to ensure the collaboration of religious leaders with government in the fight against COVID-19 virus.
Cry out to God for God to intervene and stop this pandemic. If all of us should come together and pray, I am very sure God the Almighty will hear us.
The Nigerian Interreligious Council spiritual prayer is held once a week through virtual meeting. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
I will say amen to their prayers. Now, the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs has announced its participation in an initiative to pray and fast for humanity on Thursday, the 14th of May 2020. Upon the invitation of the Higher Committee of Human Fraternity, a statement, Sheikh Al-Sharif Ibrahim Saleh Al-Hussein, head of NSCIA, said that Muslims in Nigeria are supporting this call as Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, prayed to God during times of crisis and hardships as well as during periods of pandemics and diseases. Pope Francis, head of the Catholic Church, Dr. Ahmed El-Taib, the Grand Imam of Al-Aqsa and chairman of the Muslim Council of Elders, and many religious, political and social groups have announced their participation in the event. And we will take a breather now. When we return, COVID-19 restrictions leave retailers and perishable goods with sour experiences as Creative Youth Corps members sow the fabric of patriotism and commerce. Stay with us.
No perfect family may be under threat by germs. Germs can cause infectious diseases like diarrhea, typhoid, and flu. These infectious diseases are amongst the biggest killers of adults and children. In Nigeria, tens of thousands of children under the age of 5 have died due to diarrhea caused by germs. These illness-causing germs are everywhere. Dirty surfaces, on cuts and wounds, on your clothes, in unclean bathing water. To protect your family from germs, use the power of Dettol's 1 capful. For surface cleaning, for first aid, for your laundry, in your bathing water, and to protect your family from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Introducing Dettol with aloe vera. Soothing aloe vera, the power of Dettol, which is soft on skin and hard on germs. Be Dettol Sure.
What we are really cultivating here is a better future for all Nigerian women, and it's not always easy. Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
Good morning, son. I hope you're still not sleeping.
Coronavirus cause wahala everywhere. Oh, just check your food.
We set some tips. Majorly, wash your hands regularly and sanitize as well.
Just sit down your hands, yo. If not, you go cash yo. If not, you go cash yo.
When we get information this season, it is to protect yourself and others around you. Do not be stubborn about your health. You may endanger yourself and others around you. Speak up, do your part, and help flatten the curve. Let's stay alive together.
We can stay alive. Stay alive. Stay alive. Stay alive together. Oh, oh, stay alive.
Action. Make your home the place to be with GoTV's super cool kids channels.
That sounds fun.
From funky friends that'll keep even the little ones busy.
All right, everybody, let's do this.
To learn as you watch educational shows for curious young minds.
You can do some amazing things.
There's plenty for everyone. Tune in to our kids shows and get everything you need to keep the kids entertained and learning the fun way. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Like a bird needs wings to fly, you need skills to be productive. No matter the level of your education, ITF can train you to acquire skills in areas like mechatronics, metal machining, facility technology, electronics and computer networking, information and communication technology, ICT, culinary art, and agriculture. Acquire a skill and transform yourself from being unemployed to becoming even an employer. Be a valuable Nigerian youth. Say no to unemployment and poverty.
Oh, I'll spread my wings and fly so high. I'll reach for the stars, yeah, it's time.
Industrial Training Fund, developing the nation's human resource.
The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
You're welcome back to News Extra. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, says the Nigerian Air Force will continue to evolve strategies that would ensure adequate projection of air power to effectively deal with prevalent security threats in any part of the country. He stated this during an operational visit to Air Task Force Command Operation Lafia Dole in Maiduguri, where he also inaugurated a block of 30 apartments and other facilities. And we have Abubakar Mohammed Musa with the report.
The operational visit by the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, was to receive new strategic guidance for the conduct of operations, as well as appraise efforts of troops on the front line in the first quarter of year 2020. While saluting the doggedness of troops, especially in sustaining the winning momentum against Boko Haram insurgents, the Chief of Air Staff underscored the crucial roles being played by the Nigerian Air Force through the Air Task Force Operation Lafia Dole in providing the much-needed air support required for ground operations. On the ravaging COVID-19 challenge facing the country and the world, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar charged personnel to operate in line with all laid-down safety measures. Air Task Force Commander Operation Lafia Dole, Air Commodore Precious Amadi, using a PowerPoint medium, highlighted the successes recorded by airmen and women in the first quarter of 2020 and acknowledged the series of support being extended to troops in the theater by the Chief of Air Staff. During the visit, the Chief of Air Staff inaugurated a block of 30 studio apartments, senior officers' mess, and operations center.
We have made it extremely difficult for Boko Haram to have freedom of movement with the use of our airplanes and so on. So I think, and the fact that we have also destroyed quite a number of their locations, that has made it much easier, I believe, for the other forces to also conduct their own operations.
The Nigerian Air Force is not relenting in boosting the operational capabilities of troops on the front line towards achieving its set target, which of course is the restoration of lasting peace to the Northeast region. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Mohammed Musa, NTA News.
With a looming global economic recession, no thanks to coronavirus, Nigeria has been urged to initiate agricultural policies and initiatives that will encourage farming and possibly return the country to the post-independence regional cash crops era. The belief is that agriculture can once again become the mainstay of the country's economy, rather than states waiting every month for federal government allocations that may soon disappear. And Cordelia Okwoma reports.
The agricultural sector accounted for 57% of the gross domestic product GDP and generated as much as 64.5% of export earnings between 1960 and 1969, as farmers were encouraged to take loans on a single digit prior to the discovery of oil. The recent global economic downturn occasioned by COVID-19 and the fall in oil prices, the worst in 20 years, stakeholders say, has made it imperative to look inwards towards agriculture rather than continue to depend on federal allocations.
The only thing that can solve the problem when the oil has fallen is employment that will be created by the agricultural sector. Because you see that agriculture is the only thing that can absorb the shock. People are already coming down. And how would they invest? We want to advise them. It must be invested along value chain.
Chairman Abia State Council of Traditional Rulers, who has been in the forefront of the campaign, expressed fear that post-COVID-19 could spell doom for food security if no calculated efforts are made now.
This is the time to cultivate and to harness the God-given resources to this country. We don't have to look foreign anymore, thinking that we're going to China, we're going to Europe, we're going to America to get what will help us in this country.
Aka Jaja, which translates "The hand that works in the morning is in the evening," is a campaign sponsored by the wife of the state governor and being driven by the Abuja State Agricultural Development Program, ADP.
Virus cannot easily be eradicated within a few months. The virus is something that may have to live with us for some time while we find a cure and while we find the remedies. So right now, we are encouraging farmers to, everybody go to your farm.
Ada Awazie is a civil servant and has heard the clarion call during the stay-at-home period. The Back to Land campaign in Abia State is focused on women to help feed their households in the face of difficulties by easily reaching out in the gardens to get what to eat without spending money. In Umuahia, Cordelia Okwoma, NTA News.
Nigeria is so blessed. As the nation continues to count its losses in terms of man-hours and resources due to lockdowns occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic, also are sellers of perishable agricultural produce crying out in Benue State. Joshua Edino Justice, who visited the Boku vegetable market, reports these traders incur losses on a daily basis.
Boko Township is now renowned only for being the traditional seat of the Tortive, but it is also a commercial hub of the state as it plays host to big industries and small-scale businesses. The lockdown brought about by the fear of the spread of coronavirus has not spared anyone, including the small-scale retailers of agricultural produce like tomato sellers. At the Boko main market, what is hard is this threatening question: who wants to buy rotten tomatoes? The answer might be no, and that means total loss to the owners. This is a Boko main market. Everywhere you turn to, what you see is lock-up shops to the right, to the left, and which the traders are saying is having a telling effect on them. Here with me is Victoria.
The tomato always rotty. They are rotty because it's a perishable goods. So when we put the tomato on the way coming, the motor, they hold the motor on the load. So when they hold the motor on the load, when the motor comes to enter the market, the goods lot all. So our money now lost.
These two baskets have gone rotten. A fresh tomato like this basket will have cost how much?
15,000.
So now these two baskets now mean 30,000 has gone.
Yes, 30,000 has gone. This one now, maybe we can sell it 1.5. This is how we are suffering.
Madam Victoria Nungo is not alone. Other women want government and public-spirited individuals to come to their assistance, as they allege the real casualties of hunger might surpass that of coronavirus. Other seemingly losers in the distribution chain are commercial motorcyclists. From Boko main market, Joshua Edino Justice, NTA News.
A very sad one there from Boko vegetable markets. Now, a child of necessity to ward off coronavirus is the making of face masks. The massive global demand is challenging, and Nigerians have been going the extra mile to meet local production. Olainka Ojo visited a center where masks are produced. You want to know the producers? Okay, you don't have to wait any longer. Let's watch.
There's a need for us also to think out of the box to see what the NYSC can bring to bear as a contribution to the fight against the pandemic.
This is one of the NYSC Skills Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Development Center, where youth corps members who chose the skill of fashion designing during the orientation course are bringing it to bear. From cutting to sewing, then screen printing, the only thing that is not done in this side fashion center is the production of the fabric. At this center, these corps members, as part of their contribution to the fight against COVID-19, are producing face masks made of cotton materials for the Federal Capital Territory Administration.
The minister came out to give us a mandate to produce 10,000 face masks for the SCTA.
Since the production of face masks has been described as the new oil at the times we are in, this graduate of mass communication from Kogi State University, Esther Benro, says,
By the time we finish this thing and we get to give it out to people, it's going to be a great thing of joy for me, because reaching out to people and making sure people are protected from this pandemic is one thing that I really want to achieve.
Of what quality and standards are the face masks?
Following our meeting with the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, we are privileged to have our face masks tested in the Standard Organization of Nigeria lab, and we had an edge over several other face masks which are produced in Nigeria. The reason being that our material we used was 100% cotton with a filter in between a double layer material.
After meeting the targeted number, the Youth Corps members who are serving in the FCT will be presenting the face masks to the Federal Capital Territory Administration for onward distribution. Olainka Ojo, NTA News.
Now, it's a thing of joy, I must say, Olainka Ojo, coming from our Corps members. Keep up the good work. Now, nothing ventured, nothing gained. If coronavirus thinks it has crippled learning in schools, well, it has another thing coming, as the federal government has recommended e-learning and other open educational applications and platforms. Now, that's where students are headed. And Lekon Agwode, who examines this trend in Ogun State, reports that epileptic public power supply and cost of internet are some of the challenges militating against success of the mixed media learning platforms.
The coronavirus pandemic has reshaped almost every aspect of human endeavors, including education. Most governments around the world have temporarily closed down educational institutions in an attempt to curtail the spread of COVID-19.
For students to stay connected to school, the federal government recommended mixed media learning platforms. While some are using Zoom, some are glued to radio and television for educational programs.
It is really helpful because there are some things they have not taught me in my school because of the pandemic.
All the subjects that the students are taking were well taken care of by the school, making the teachers that were taking them originally in the class to give them the lecture.
While some students are computer illiterate, unable to participate in the online classes, others actively involved are at the mercy of electricity service providers to either enjoy uninterrupted internet connectivity, listen or view government's radio and television programs.
More important, there are some who cannot even afford to buy data that could transmit all of these things.
Meanwhile, to assist students to enjoy uninterrupted learning, some internet providers have done this.
As long as you have Airtel line, you have 500 MB for you to be able to browse this educational website.
Joel Kowo is a final year secondary school student preparing for his external examination.
I don't think I'm missing anything because exactly same thing we do in school, the same thing we're doing online, even better, because it gives room for the teacher to be able to ask each and every student if he understands or not. Because if you don't understand, you can be able to call the teacher back. The teacher will hear you loudly.
For Johnson Adejuwon, a junior secondary school student, Little Emmanuel Ogunleye, and other children in the neighborhood, television and phone applications are no more for movies and entertainment.
They send notes for me to write and the scheme of work we're going to do, and they teach me. It's interesting and it's a good method of learning.
Besides epileptic power supply, internet connectivity is key for students to enjoy seamless participation in online classes. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
And still to come tonight, the complexity of the partial lockdown, barricades on the roads, but what about the waterways? How do you stop the boats? Find out when we return.
GoTV dey your side as times dey tough so. We don't see your loyalty and we appreciate the journey where we don't work out together. That na why GoTV dey sama you with better upgrade to the next package as you stay connected or reconnect. We dey your side with correct entertainment. You fit save up to 75% because now we. Not to stay connected or reconnect, GoTV go upgrade you at no extra cost. Wow! Stay connected with GoTV self-service payment options. Visit GoTVAfrica.com to gather more information about this better discount and our payment options. GoTV TV dey your side. Enjoy GoTV Wow Awoof. GoTV. Live it, love it.
We have observed the lockdown. We have practiced the measures in order to curb the spread of the virus, but we can do better. The coronavirus spread is increasing daily, and only together can we cut down the numbers and defeat the spread of the virus. Remember, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, and a recovered patient cannot spread the disease. Do not stigmatize. Do not hesitate to report any case, or if you have come in contact with anybody that has been infected with COVID-19. If you have cough and fever, please stay at home and call your state hotline. Find state numbers at www.covid19.ncdc.gov.ng. Remember, it is for your own good and for the good of every Nigerian. Let us do better and defeat the virus. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Welcome, dear. Have you washed your hands?
Inside my house again. This thing not the key black man.
I don't know if it's misinformation or poor hygiene that will kill you first. Coronavirus is real, and good hygiene practice will save your life. Anyway, no hand washing, no eating.
I will not take care of it. How's one of the parents? Coronavirus is real and it's on the rise. But you can help yourself and help others to be safe. Remember, we can stop the spread. It's in your hands.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Nigerians, let us take responsibility. Stay healthy, stay safe, and curb the spread of the virus. Take responsibility. The coronavirus spreads from one person to another. Let us avoid crowd gathering of any kind for any reason. Take responsibility. Avoid traveling from one state to another during these lockdown restrictions. Obey all the rules that are put in place. Take responsibility. Stop spreading fake news and unverified reports about the coronavirus. There is no known cure for COVID-19. Take responsibility. Observe all the measures that can help stop the spread of the virus. Together, we can do this, but only if we take responsibility. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Great to know you're still with us. Even in the midst of coronavirus, security challenges have not gone away. In fact, in areas like Lagos, the virus compounded the security challenges there. It's therefore good to hear that Dangote Cement PLC has donated 35 vehicles to the State Security Trust Fund to enhance security operations. Adeola Kami Akere reports that the presentation took place at the State House, Marina, Lagos.
Ensuring security is the prerogative of government. This is achieved through support from security agencies and partnership with the private sectors. The presentation of 35 branded vehicles by Dangote Cement PLC to the Lagos State Security Trust Fund is in line with the synergy of all sectors in the provision of adequate security. The independent non-executive director, Dangote Cement PLC, Emmanuel Ikazubo, commended Governor Sanwo-Olu for his steadfastness in reducing crime rates in the state.
We are substantial or significant investors in this state, and development and prosperity of our business and of the state is dependent on security being available. I also want to partner with the state to ensure that the security agencies are up to speed with all what they need to improve security in the state.
Chief Executive Officer, Lagos State Security Trust Fund, described Dangote Cement as a worthy partner and a major supporter of the trust fund.
We'll continue to put it to good use. What is very important is that, like we say,
We are just custodians of these donations. The ultimate users or end users are the police. I know there's a limit and the extent of which we have control over the police. But because we work in concert together, we always urge them to take ownership. Because when you take ownership of these very, very expensive assets, that's the only way that people want to do more.
The Dangote Group appreciated Governor Sanwo-Olu's dedication and diligence in combating the COVID-19 pandemic. The group promised more collaborations in the future. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
The federal government has released 139 trucks of assorted food items for distribution to less privileged in Kano State. Chairman Kano State COVID-19 Palliatives Fundraising Committee, Professor Mohammed Yahuza Bello, disclosed this while giving account of receipts and disbursements made since its inauguration last month. Abdullahi Mustafa has the details.
The 2 weeks lockdown and subsequent extension by additional 1 week is one of the major steps taken to contain the spread of COVID-19 in Kano State. However, mindful of the consequences of the decision, the state government initiated a palliatives program for low-income earners. The fundraising committee constituted to handle the task generated more than 400 million naira that was used for the provision of food items to 50,000 households across the state.
Happy to inform you that the federal government has done more than it said it was going to do. It promised 110 truckloads. It has supplied the state government with 139 truckloads, not 110.
This and other contribution from the state government will be used in supporting another set of beneficiaries. As was done during the previous exercise, the distribution will be carried out in more than 11,000 locations across the 44 local government areas of the state. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
The outbreak of the coronavirus disease has no doubt put a major strain on healthcare facilities across the world, Nigeria inclusive. And Dr. Mohammed reports on the health impact of some elderly citizens in Minna, Niger State, and how they are adapting to the coronavirus pandemic.
The outbreak of the coronavirus disease has put enormous strain on healthcare facilities, while the elderly population has been especially affected by the virus in most cities due largely to health complications. The lockdown directive put in place to limit the spread of COVID-19 in Niger State has made 79-year-old Mary Swanya to adjust routine from daily walks around her community to only within her compound.
I can't go for my medical checkup. I am locked up at home. And staying at home is not part of me because at least I love visiting my friends, I love going to the market, but all that, for my safety, I withdrew.
Other elderly members of the community in Minna, like 74-year-old Ahmed Rufai and 68-year-old Abraham Isa, say the realities of the present pandemic has brought about changes in their daily routines to protect their health.
I have not had a reason yet to go to any of the hospitals here in Minna. And thank God, I think I am reasonably stable health-wise.
I comply with all the do's and don'ts that the doctors ask me to do. I keep very, very strictly to them. In the food I eat, and taking my medication as and when due, and then as best as I can, doing exercise. And it has kept me going.
The changing realities of the world has also led to different new habits.
In cases like this, you just have to adjust. The government are doing their best, but the people are not appreciating, the people are not obeying, the people do not take it serious at all.
Before you come in, you must wash your hand and use the sanitizer.
While some of the elderly have put in place measures in their homes and adjusted their lifestyles to conform with the present realities, others have not been fortunate enough, raising concerns on the need to assist those having challenges. While health facilities like this may be overburdened with cases of COVID-19, the elderly in the society will need the support and care of everyone to overcome this pandemic. In Minna, Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
And following the relaxation of the total lockdown in Lagos, commercial boat operators resumed business on the waterways with additional safety guidelines in place for passenger protection. And Dotun Ogunyemi, who was at one of the jetties to monitor the level of compliance, reports.
Thank you, studio. Just like other sectors of the economy, the water transport subsector is gradually picking up days into the ease of the lockdown. However, there are several compliance and requirements which commuters have to ensure before they embark on a journey.
They can operate from 6:30 in the morning to 5:30 in the night, and they're supposed to carry 60% of their normal capacity. And at every entrance, they have to on basin to wash their hands. They have a sanitizer to sanitize their hands. And after everything, we disinfect the boat.
And there have been strict adherence to how people move into the boats and how they sit and general condition of the boat.
Just as it is mandatory to use your life jacket while embarking on a boat journey, it is also now required that commuters and passengers use their face masks, as well as ensure that other regulations as posited by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 is adhered to. From the CMS Jetty Marina, Dotun Ogunyemi, NTA News.
And after a 2-month suspension occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic, football is gradually making its comeback, with the German Bundesliga set to resume action this Saturday. Although the news of the restart has been generating mixed reactions, and the big story, however, is that football is returning with a difference, and Badi Adele tells us more.
For about 2 months now, players and their coaches have been told to stay away from their first love, football, due to the coronavirus pandemic. Followers of the round leather game have been denied access to live football, whether in the stadiums like this or on television. Owners of football-related businesses have felt the impact, while it has also affected the global economy. While many have been hopeful of a return, their hopes looked dashed when the Dutch Eredivisie ended its season, and that was followed by the forced conclusion of the professional football leagues in France. Good news, however, came when the organizers of the German football leagues announced a May 16 restart date. Fully aware of the risk, the German Football League rolled out some guidelines to be followed by the clubs and players, with a limited number of people expected in the stadium, while some health and safety protocols have already been issued for the clubs. Fans have also been barred from the stadiums and are not allowed to even gather outside. While other top leagues in Europe will follow Bundesliga's restart keenly as a case study, they are already making progress in their restart plans. In England, the Premier League is targeting a June restart date and will return to training in small groups from May 18. Teams